Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley. I'm a writer and a graduate student paving a creative life for myself one day at a time. And today I just really want to talk about mental health and what it means to have mental health as a writer and a graduate student. I hope this applies to you and maybe you find something helpful. I am under no circumstances a psychiatrist or someone who has even really studied psychology. I'm just gonna be speaking from my own experience and what works for me and what hasn't worked for me. And then we're also gonna do a little bit of writing today because I have homework and I'm also a teacher. I teach English 103 at the college I go to, and I have a lot of grading I also need to get done. I also have conferences that start in a couple hours, like 2.5 hours-ish. So we're just kind of talk about mental health, vlog. I'm really excited for the fiction actually because we are doing Erasure microfiction. And I have never done something like that before in my life. If you're unfamiliar, Erasure usually goes with poetry, usually called Erasure poetry, and it's where you take a already existing text, like from a magazine or a book, and you basically black out with marker or online or whatever it is, digitally. You can do it digitally. You black out and you like circle or square off all the words that you use, and at the end the only words showing is the poem. So that is the goal of Erasure poetry. And so for my fiction workshop this semester we are aiming to do something very similar, mostly because one of the poetry professors at my university just published a book of Erasure poetry all about Iceland and volcanoes in Iceland, which is like really cool. So she uses a bunch of articles, newspapers. Oh, I just got a notification that there's a tornado watch in my area. Wow, okay. Well, we're gonna keep a lookout for that. There isn't a place in my apartment without windows. So I have the window open right here though. So if I see something, I'll let you guys know. It's like raining too and pretty windy, so I guess that's why there's a tornado watch. This is just like perfect weather for like a mental health writing vlog video. I'm just like, chef's kiss, oh my goodness. Okay, so the Erasure poetry is now going to be turned into microfiction. So for those who are unfamiliar with microfiction, it's basically fiction at the micro level, so like microscopic, very small, usually a maximum of about 250 words. Flash fiction is the next step up. That's usually about 750 words or less. Some magazines will take up to 1,000 words for flash fiction. It really depends. It's either 750 or 1,000. In the class that I'm in now, we're treating it like 750. And my fiction workshop this semester is all about flash fiction and doing like microfiction, flash, doing weird stuff with genre. Last week we even made satirical magazine covers. I'll post it like here for you guys. I was like really proud with it. I did it with my friend Ethan. It turned out bomb. I just want to say I think I'm very proud of it, and I think that also leads us into our conversation about mental health too. It was nice to have a different mode of expression and art rather than just writing, at least for that day. And I think I consider myself an artist in addition to being a writer, but I don't normally spend time on any art besides writing, particularly like writing for school nowadays. But yeah, so I have to make a microfiction flash piece off of a source text that is already a flash piece. So it's like taking flash fiction and making something new out of it that's even shorter. And my professor even said that he had never done this exercise before, and neither have I, and I'm kind of here for it, for the challenge. And I encourage you guys, if that sounds really interesting to you, I would love you guys to try this yourselves. Post your stories or your source text in the comments below. Let me see what you guys are doing. Obviously don't have to post your writing here in a public space or whatever, but let me know if you do try it or if you plan on trying it. Something that I've been thinking about for my channel lately has been incorporating more like prompts and fun little exercises that we can all do together. And I think that would be really fun. I used to do that in my creative writing club that I led in undergrad, and I miss it. And I think that's why I'm so excited for this micro flash exercise too, is that I don't get to do a lot of small genre splicing activities, or at least I haven't lately, so I really want to. Dang, it's really pouring outside now. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about mental health now. Obviously, context, trigger warning, we are going to talk about mental health stuff, so if you're feeling in a place where you can't handle talking about it or hearing about it, please let go of the video now. It's okay. You can come back to it later at any point. It'll stay on my channel. Please just take care of yourself, and obviously if any of you are in a really struggling place right now, 988 suicide prevention number. And I encourage you guys to seek counseling as well. I was in therapy for quite a while, especially when I was in undergrad, because it was free hobby. I'm not now, but I think that it's an incredible resource if you can afford it, for one, especially for artists. I think like there's a stigma around us getting help and asking for help, and we just need to like let that go a little bit and say it's okay to get help and to need help. I encourage you guys to do that, and let's get into it. One of my New Year's goals was to take a step back, slow down, just like, because before coming to grad school, I think I always had some really major goal. I was also substitute teaching at a middle school. There was just like a lot of stress factors coming into my life. And I think, especially as writers and students, we get stuck in this thing called like a busy mindset, that we have to do everything, and that if we let just one opportunity slip us by, then there's something wrong with us, or that we're not good enough and all that stuff, and it's just a spiral. It's just simply not the case. It's okay to say no to opportunities, and I don't think we say that enough, especially as writers. Let me repeat, it is okay to say no. I struggle with this all the time. I always feel like if there's an opportunity, like I need to take it. Something else won't come along, and you know, that's not the case. If a door closes, a window opens kind of thing, and it's okay for us to be the ones that actually close the door and open the window to self-care instead. You said about starting a new writing project or deciding to do an all-nighter to study for this exam that you're worried about. It can really go hand in hand with anything related to school or work, or like working a full-time job, being stressed about work and not feeling like to get the promotion you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order to get it and to stand out, whereas that's not really great for our mental health or mental being. Granted, as students, we can always ask our professors for an extension for assignments, not really for exams per se. Some professors will let you make up exams. It really depends on the institution you're at. Me as a professor, or as a graduate assistant / instructor, professor person without the credentials, but I always grant extensions. My personal philosophy as well, because everyone has shit going on in their lives. You know, you can't know every single thing or aspect that's going on in a student's life, nor your professors either. And I think we all kind of struggle with this busybody, gotta do everything. And so granting extensions is my way of saying it's okay for you to let this go and to take some more time to do it, and to not like rush through it so you can put forth your best work. And that's part of my pedagogy as a teacher, and I stand behind that. It's annoying sometimes when they ask the day of or at 12:01 a.m. I had an essay due last night and it was due at midnight, and someone messaged me at 12:01 if they can get an extension. Not a lie. And I was just like, of course you can, but also let's be better about being proactive about asking for extensions in the first place. That's a whole other story, Professor Rant, but the premise applies. Like if you ask, I mean, the worst somebody can say is no, but it's better to be proactive for your mental health than to stay in a state of anxiety or depression or something worse and just like not do anything about it at all. And I think especially writers and students, because a lot of students are writers and they're writing for class all the time, even if they're in the sciences and doing reports, there's not really a lot of time for creativity outside of the classroom. And I think that because they're so busy with school and academia, that it's hard to take a step back and to do something that the student really loves to do or likes to do, where they get caught just binge watching TV to shut their brains off, which is something that I do. So I know that my students probably do that as well, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed or anxious. I feel like that's like my go-to because I can't concentrate. I just need something to like numb everything, which is not like the healthiest coping mechanism. People do that like with scrolling on Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok. People use social media as a coping mechanism for their mental health, and it's not a bad thing. Everything in doses is a good thing. It only becomes a problem if you're doing it obsessively to avoid everything else in your life, like dishes and laundry and other like self-care things that you need to do to function as a normal human being on a semi-daily basis. My next point about writing specifically and mental health, because I feel like if it's that we're working too much and that we're getting overwhelmed and that there's so much to do, then I feel like a main portion of that mental health self-care as writers thing that we need to do in order to take a step back and to let ourselves breathe is to set smaller goals for ourselves. And I've talked about goal setting and stuff on my channel before. It's nothing really new. I talked about burnout and the creative well, and those videos are somewhere in my archive. So if you're interested in that, I'll link it down below in the description box. At least for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, if this doesn't apply to you, that's okay. Just my personal experience. If like I set a goal to write a novel in a year, which I have. And granted, with NaNoWriMo, it's writing a novel in the month. A year seems very generous on paper, right? That being said, all novels are different. We have to take a look at, okay, what genre am I writing in? What is the normal word count or page length for that novel? What is my schedule like? Am I working a full-time job? Am I in school like I am now? Am I taking care of pets or kids? I don't have pets or kids with me at the moment. I just don't have kids in general. I have dogs who live with my parents. I know those details and I put in my life circumstances into consideration. Let's say, because I made this goal when I was substitute teaching and I was working 32 to 40 hours a week, let's say. Sometimes a little less, a little more, it depended on the needs of the school and where COVID was at in terms of teachers needing to take off work and stuff. Spoiler alert, I did not make my goal. My goals was to start and rewrite and finish A Dance of Shadows, which is one of the novels that I've been working on for quite a long time now. It's going on its 6th or 7th year this July. 6th, 7th? I don't know. I took the whole year off of it. I haven't touched it in like a year and a half. I didn't even get halfway through it. Teaching is also mentally draining. Figure out, okay, how long do I want this novel to be? It was a kind of magical realism, urban fantasy kind of novel. The first draft sat at about 150,000 words. Most publishers will not take 150 words. So I knew word count for this next round of edits and rewriting needed to be way less, at least 120 minimum. And I was rewriting practically from scratch. I had a bunch of scenes that I thought I could carry over. I did adjust those and stuff like that. So it's not like I was writing it completely from scratch. I didn't take into account how mentally draining teaching was going to be. I didn't take in account working at and living at home. My workspace was just a desk in my room. I mean, I'll kind of go through that next year again too, because I won't have this office next year. I'm getting a roommate to help with cost of living because grad school students, you know, we do not make much money at all. But basically, you have to decide, okay, how many words can I write in a day? How many days a week can I logistically write? How many words is that in a week? Okay, how about a month? How about 12 months? And then see what that number is. And if that number is less than the predicted number or the predicted word count length of the novel that you want to write, then that's an unreasonable goal to set. And that if I can only write 2 or 3 days a week, depending on my work schedule, then if I can write 1,000 words a day, that's 3,000 words a week. I can't math on the spot, hold on. 1,000, wait. Yeah, let's just go with 1,000 words a day, 3 days a week, which is all right. It's less than what I would want, but it's like manageable. It's a goal that I could probably get myself to keep. That's 3,000 words a week. 3 times 4 is 12, so 12,000 a month. Calculator. 144,000 words. So if that's the case, then that 144,000 words is over my projected 120,000 word novel that I want to rewrite. So I should be able to meet that goal. However, at the time, I think my goal was within 6 to 8 months, not a full year. And I did not write 3 times a week, and I did not get to 1,000 words. It would be a good week if I got to 3,000 words a week. That rarely happened. And I was trying to aim for 5,000 words a week, which then caused burnout, which meant that there was weeks that I wasn't writing as much or like at all. And I ended up just stopping working on the project in general. So if I followed something more similar to this layout where I did the math, and I did try to do the math before, but like, I don't know what I did, but it was bad. And I think like if I did something like this now, I feel like I could probably follow it. I still don't know about writing 3 times a week. I can barely manage 2 days a week now with my schedule, and that's still just writing for class. I'm writing usually for assignments, fiction or poetry. I'm in both workshops this semester. I haven't had time for other projects. I did edit my long short story, Gallery of Sun and Bones, over winter break and submitted it to a contest, which was awesome, and I'm excited. I'm getting anxious now because I should be hearing back in March, so I'm a little like, ooh. But another reason I wanted to do this video was because it's the end of February when I'm recording this. It's the 27th. And, you know, it's about time I start setting these minor goals for myself and try to get back in the groove. And I think like my goal for next month is to just write like 1,000 words a week, 1,000 words a week, not even 3,000 words a week. And that might seem like crazy small to some of you, but with like how my own mental health is going, with teaching 2 classes and taking 3 classes, and like 1,000 words in addition to my class projects. Like I want to start writing for myself in addition to class, and I think that will help my mental health. Honestly, I've been feeling this kind of like creative lull a little bit, and I think it's just primarily because I'm not doing enough for my own creative soul, nurturing creative well, sparkling it up kind of thing. I just haven't had the time for it. I hope that made sense to you guys. Please let me know in the comments if that made sense, if you're still here with me. I hope that you can take that as it is and try to set some smaller goals for yourselves in shorter amount of times. Like my 1,000 word goal for March is just gonna be for March. It's not gonna be for April. It's just March. It's 1 month, so it'll be 4,000 words total that I'm writing for myself. And even that right now, as I'm saying that, that seems like a lot for me. Like I'm like, should I cut that down to like 500? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, there's other things that you can do to start helping your mental health in terms of taking a step back, going on more walks if the weather permits it, outside, going to the gym. Me and my friend are now gym buddies, and we're going at least twice a week. And that's been really helping me. I'm in the process of trying to lose weight. I'm going to the gym again. It's been hard some days to like get myself to go, but like I've been doing it the last few weeks. It's going. I think that's a part of the reason that I wanted to make this video too, is that when I'm anxious, I feel like I'm more anxious when I'm not working on something long term. and I haven't worked on a novel since last May. I don't know, not that I have to be always working on a novel or anything. I don't think I should be always working on something. Busybody mindset. I do feel like my sense of self and self-worth is directly tied to my identity as a writer and artist. So if I'm not making art, I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm working on all these other things for school, and then I'm feeling anxious that I'm not working on another project for me. And then when I do take a step back, or I bring up an old project, or I'm doing something else like vlogging or making a video, then I'm feeling anxious that I'm not working on schoolwork. And it's just kind of this like back and forth where I can't find the happy medium place right now. And you know, that's hard because I mean, I'm going to school for creative writing, right? So you'd think that it would be easier to work on stuff that I want to work on. And it's not like I'm not working on stuff that I don't want to work on, but it's just been a lot this semester, especially with like weaning off my meds and all of that fun stuff. But yeah, no one shoe fits all, right? I mean, as cliche as that sounds, it's true. No one's mental health is gonna be the same as somebody else's, and we all are gonna have different coping mechanisms in place. And I would love to hear what you guys do. When I'm feeling better, I try to give myself like facials or take baths, or like I love going on walks in nature and museums and going on adventures. I'm gonna be traveling to Vegas next week and gonna be seeing a couple shows and hiking around in nature in the desert and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like next week's spring break trip is going to be so good. I'm so excited for that, and I'll be sure to vlog that as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Like, my brain is functioning. I'm not staying on top of all my classes. Like, nothing is wrong per se, and I feel like I'm happy to be here, and I love my program, and my professors have been great, and the other students, I've made really good friends in my program. And like, ultimately, I'm happy about that, and I do feel happy in there. But I also think there's also this like sadness too that kind of comes with writing and studenting and not being able to prioritize. This kind of happened to me too when I was subbing. I love teaching. I love working with students, especially at college. I am like convinced now that there's nothing like teaching, and like the feeling that I get when I'm in front of the classroom, like all anxiety kind of goes away and it feels refreshing, and I feel like there's a purpose to this, especially when I'm teaching writing. But I don't know, it's like afterwards, like the drain. If any of you are educators, you probably know what I mean. I'm just mentally exhausted, and I feel like my writing is really suffering because of that. And it's really hard because I love writing and I love teaching and I love going to school and I love learning. It's something that's been on my mind lately, and it's been a little bit of a struggle, and I don't know if you guys can relate to that or not, but if you can, I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you have any way to fix it, because I don't. Ultimately, in conclusion, I think mental health for writers and graduate students is about relinquishing control and like being like, it's okay to let go of not staying on top of everything. It's okay to be a little disorganized sometimes, and it's okay to make smaller goals for ourselves. You know, it's okay to take a step back and be like, hey, I can't handle this right now, and to even like maybe drop one of your classes, or I don't know, take a couple days off and go travel somewhere and get refreshed. That's okay. And I think there's kind of this like idea that we can't miss anything and we have to do everything, and this is something that I still tell myself all the time, and I've told myself it for years, and I still struggle with redoing and reaccounting for the story that I tell myself about what I can and cannot do as a writer. And I think any of this too can be applied to if you're just working a full-time job right now as well, or full-time job on top of grad school. Like Like, technically, I'm only working 20 hours a week. It's definitely been more than that, but that's all I'm being paid for, so 20 hours. Life has unforeseen circumstances, and we just gotta do what we gotta do in order to move forward, take care of ourselves and our loved ones, and ultimately our creative selves, to be the best version of ourselves that we can be for our art. Look, the sun is coming out. Nice. I guess the tornado is gone. Mental health is definitely not a overnight fix. It'll take years and hard work. We're in this together, my dudes. We're in this together. If there's anything that you take away from this video, if you are still watching, remember this. It is okay to ask for help. With that said, there is a beautiful fiction that I created during this mental health talk. And remember, guys, please, if you're new here, subscribe, like what I am doing here. Subscriptions just really help my channel grow and to have this video reach more people, as well as comments and likes. So please leave a like and a comment if you want to see more content like this. That just lets me know as too that people are enjoying the content that I'm making, that I should keep making it. Love you. Be well, stay creative, and I'll see you guys soon with yet another video. Bye and subscribe. Mwah.